the place for comic book and anime reviews.
Hello you guys, welcome to Brevin Campbell 12 YouTube channel, playing for your comic book and anime reviews. Today I'm doing my review of Laguardia by Nindi Okoyafor. I believe that's how you say her name. If I am incorrect, I am sorry. And this is the last time I'm going to say her name throughout this entire video. So I'm a big fan of this author. To be fair, I only read one of her series, and that was Binti. And I really dug Binti. Binti was one of my favorite books I've read by her. I got really into the characters within it. It tells a really interesting story of a very smart black woman living in America and like all these horrible things happening to her. And it mixes in sci-fi elements with this whole African culture that goes throughout the book, and I really dug that book. And I kind of thought this book was going to be kind of similar to that, except it was going to deal with immigration. So it was about me. I'm a very progressive person. I'm very left-leaning, and I think a lot of my politics are that. I don't think that should surprise anyone, knowing my past comic book reviews. But this kind of relevant to this book and how I feel about this book, this is a book I kept going back and forth on when I was reading it. So the book kind of starts off, and I'm kind of into it. I don't see much of an issue with the book. I'm getting into the plot. I don't love the art in the book. I will say that much. I find the artist's facial expressions to be a little weird to me. They kind of feel very off all the times. Look at this, how this woman looks. It's very it's not really for me. It's very over the top. It's a little bit too cartoony. It kind of makes faces look very, very strange when they're trying to be extra expressive. We'll find another page of the book where I thought it looked a little weird with the facial structures. They kind of just threw me off. Here, this scene right here. I was like, you scare me. That's nightmare fuel for me. And it just broke my immersion in multiple points in the book. And this is a strange book. This is a very weird, kind of esoteric, making into immigrants to actual aliens book. And the political message is very upfront. It's very in your face. Which, again, isn't really a bad thing necessarily speaking. You can do that. You can do that in your stories and have a very upfront message about what you're trying to tell. But you also have to tell a story. And I felt like you have to tell a story beyond just the message. You also have to, entertain people with your story. You have to, give people a reason to want to read your story. You know what I mean? And I felt like this book didn't really do that. It wasn't really, after the premise was given to me, as slowly as the story kept going on, there came less and less of a reason for me to keep reading this book, because there wasn't much there. I'm going to actually talk about a little bit something in this book. So at the start of this book, the very beginning, I'm really into this concept, right? Because we get this whole sequence within so at the beginning of the book, we get this sequence where, the character known as Citizen is talking with these military guys, and they're at a school. And we're kind of getting this whole setup of this whole protest that's going on at the start of the book. And it's kind of interesting to see these parts of the world and how they're kind of doing this world building throughout and explaining things to us. And all that's really interesting. And it was something that I was looking more for in this story about how the mechanics of this world works. But as the story gets on, the book becomes less about that, and it takes a different direction of about the woman having this child and her sneaking the child through security, and illegally getting them in, and the whole story kind of starts revolving around that. And there's this whole big reveal with that, and it's used for the larger plot in the book. But it then kind of just, by the end of the book, doesn't really go anywhere with it, I felt like. And we get, as the book kind of keeps going on, like there becomes less and less focus on the actual characterization of the characters, and it pushes that message a lot harder as the book goes on, and focuses less on, using that message to tell a fully fleshed out story. And it felt like, especially once we get to the end of the book, and these names are really funny throughout the book as it keeps going. If this was written by Nick Spencer, like, I can see Nick Spencer really like playing up the jokes a lot more and like really having a lot of fun with it, compared to what this book does. Because like one of the characters, basically they have a child. There's a character called Let Me, who is this weird alien creature who was snuck through by Future, and they ended up having a kind of a child with, I guess it was between the alien creature, Citizen, and this woman, and they end up giving it a new name. It's very strange. It's a very strange, like, kind of setup that we got going on there by the end of the book. And it's not that, like, I hated all of this or thought it was really bad. I thought it was just poorly conceived and poorly thought out, and there wasn't much there. I felt like there needed to be more going on. There needed to be like a lot more time given to what each of the characters were thinking, and who are these people as throughout. There's also this other sequence that kind of like threw me off. So Citizen has this weird moment with, let me see if I can find it, with one of the alien characters near the end of the book after having the child. Here, this sequence right here. Because like, I'm very weirded out by it, because you see like Citizen, like he takes like one of the aliens is playing with the child, and you're thinking like, and he takes it away because he gets angry about the creature playing with the child. And I'm like, I kind of got it because of the fact that, like, after everybody went through with the child and the whole sequence about like wanting to keep the child close and safe, I was thinking like that was going to be kind of like the play, but it kind of starts instead like as an excuse to have like the characters have this whole big speech about the aliens being immigrants and hatred and bigotry throughout the book. And it kind of came off as very forced. The dialogue came off very forced, and I didn't think it really worked. And the book has a lot of moments like this. And again, I don't think these things are really bad, but I also don't think they like work in telling a full cohesive story. So again, a big fan of the author. I definitely recommend you guys check out Binti if you guys haven't read that one. But I didn't really love this book. Like I said, I went back and forth from it being okay to bad. I wasn't sure where I would land on it originally, but I'm leaning to it just being bad. So remember, that's my thoughts on LaGuardia. I don't know how you guys thought about, if you guys have read this book and checked it out before, and what your opinions are on this book. And I will catch you guys later. Peace out.